Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to HA After Dark. It really is After Dark. And if you're up in the United States, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching anywhere in the world, the UK, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, Pakistan, India, anywhere in the world, Nigeria, thank you so much for Nepal. Thank you so much for watching. And this is really, really interesting because, and we'll get right to it, to my super chat. Thank you so very much. I'll give you a quick rundown as to why Trump did not break any campaign violations, and we can go and we can even look at the Electoral College map, and we can actually break down like which states would he have lost, how many votes would he have lost, with the knowledge that he had a relationship with two beautiful women. So if Trump is like trying to have this, like run a campaign like Mike Pence, this conservative religious guy, I can kind of see that, but they're going to need to prove for campaign finance violations that he paid, or that well, first of all, they're going to have to prove that Michael Cohen isn't lying. Assuming that he's not lying, let's real talk, he almost certainly went through Michael Cohen to pay these two women. And they're saying it's a big campaign finance violation because the FEC should have, it actually, it was over the amount of money that you can give to a campaign, that a corporation can give to a campaign. I wrote an article in the Daily Caller. Hillary Clinton should be indicted for breaking campaign finance laws. She broke laws with Correct the Record. She broke laws with funneling millions of dollars through her law firm to pay for Fusion GPS, to pay Fusion GPS for the Steele dossier, and also to outsource CrowdStrike. She broke laws regarding 60 to 80 million funneled through the DNC fundraisers for down-ticket Democrats that had nothing to do with her campaign. She pocketed 98% of the money, something insane like that. But you're going to have to prove that Trump instructed Michael Cohen to pay these people because he was worried about losing votes. You're also going to have to explain how he still won the election with the Access Hollywood tape, grabbing women you know where. So he still won. That's the issue here. He still won the election. And you couldn't have received more negative coverage, especially when it came to Trump and his relationship with women. You couldn't receive, from the Access Hollywood tape to people coming out and saying that, oh my goodness, he touched me here or whatever. Krillin 876 Mar openly bragged that he gave Obama a million. Yeah, exactly. But thank you, Krillin 876. But they're going to have to prove that Trump instructed Michael Cohen, which is already difficult to kind of prove because Michael Cohen initially said, it never happened, And him pleading guilty doesn't mean that Trump is guilty or that he's even guilty. He just pleaded guilty. He didn't want to go and defend anything because his lawyer is Lanny Davis. His lawyer is basically like Uma Abedin. His lawyer happens to be a very, very loyal Clinton ally. So, which is, I really don't understand Michael Cohen. If he's facing, I just don't get how he isn't trying his best to get Trump to pardon him. The president can pardon any federal crime. So it could be that he's facing state crimes, but it doesn't make any sense. The crimes that he pleaded guilty to, I believe, were all federal. So, but let's just look at Business Insider. 306 electoral college votes, Clinton 232. Can anyone tell me that Wisconsin or Michigan or Pennsylvania or Ohio or Indiana wouldn't have turned to Trump, wouldn't have voted for Trump as opposed to Clinton because of payments or because of a relationship? So it's not even the payment, it's the relationship. Who out there in 2016 would have said, oh my God, you had a relationship, an extramarital relationship? I'm not voting for you. I'm voting for Clinton. This was the most polarizing election, one of the most polarizing elections in American history. Definitely in recent memory. So no votes would have been altered or changed. Nobody would have altered their votes because they found out that he had a relationship with Stormy or McDougal. It would have actually been a non-story because it was all consensual. And with Trump, they were trying to paint him as this like madman. The Access Hollywood tape alone was the ultimate example. There's nobody in history who could have survived that except Trump. So they cannot prove that any votes would have been altered especially from his campaign. But let's because he didn't run a campaign where he was like this, Mike Pence type guy. But this is a Lawfare article, leans to the left, but this is interesting. Michael Cohen plea agreement, possible meaning of the campaign finance counts. The government has now answered the question of whether it will convert the controversies over Michael Cohen's payment to Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal into a criminal case, along with charges of tax and bank fraud. And by the way, Obama had millions in campaign finance violations to over 1,000 individuals and paid a fine of over $300 million, his campaign. We'll get to that in a second. But along with charges of tax and bank fraud, the president's former personal lawyer pleaded guilty in federal court Tuesday to 2 counts of violating federal campaign finance law in coordinating those payments. Previous reporting had indicated that Cohen arranged for payments to Daniels and McDougal to prevent news of their relationship with Donald Trump from breaking during the 2016 campaign. But that makes no sense. That makes no sense because he survived the Access Hollywood tape. Why would he care so much about this? And if Michael Cohen was indeed a fixer and he did this all the time, then he would have had a history of doing this all the time without even it would have nothing to do with campaign finance. I mean, one defense could be, hey, you know what? We did this all the time, long before any election. So it wasn't only for the election. But let's go ahead. Tuesday, the 2 counts of previous reporting had indicated that Cohen arranged for payments to Daniels and McDougal to prevent news of their past relationship with Donald Trump from breaking during the 2016 campaign. With the amount of negative coverage he got, it really wouldn't have made a difference. It would have made zero impact. Zero impact on the campaign. But let's go ahead. So, and that he may or may not have been reimbursed for those payments by Trump or organizations affiliated with him. Now Cohen has admitted that his actions resulted in illegal campaign financing, individual contributions exceeding the lawful limit, and illegal corporate funding. Okay, usually, it's just a fine a campaign pays. They're trying to say that Obama was fined. I believe even Bernie was fined. But they're saying that, oh my God, he's going to be impeached with this. Well, good luck. They lost with Trump Russia. There's zero collusion. They lost cheating Bernie. They lost in every single media spin. They lost, oh my God, he's going to cause a gigantic nuclear conflict. Well, they lost with that. He met with Kim Jong-un. There's now hopefully the beginning of peace between North and South Korea, at least the start. His foreign policy was the antithesis of what they said it would be. Oh my God, he's going to tank the economy with tariffs, 4.1% GDP growth. Like every single thing they said, he can't win, he won. So and by the way, hit subscribe if you're new to this channel. And to my viewers in other countries, thank you so very much. Please tell your friends, your family, anyone who might enjoy my voice, my kind of unique take on politics. Because if this channel grows internationally, that's like, that's actually wonderful. That's the strength of a channel on YouTube. And so I appreciate the support from every corner of the world. Thank you so very much for watching. It was not certain that prosecutors would bring charges against Cohen for these payments, except for the most clear-cut violations, like those involving straw donations that contributors channel to campaigns in the name of others. Prosecutors tend to shy away from criminal campaign finance enforcement. The sort of payments at issue in the Daniels and McDougal matters can present tricky issues of motive, which is how I started this segment. Was Trump really concerned about relationships with two beautiful women? After Bill Clinton, how many people are concerned with extramarital affairs? Not many, especially not Trump. How much was Trump moved to silence these women to spare himself personal as well as political gain? Well, number one, there's no way to silence these women. The women could have simply taken the money and spoken nonetheless. If they didn't speak and they were afraid of a lawsuit, then you're kind of bolstering the case that this was all done in a legal manner, in a, above board legal manner. The issue is, should the the Trump corporation that paid Cohen exceed a limit? But even that's not a huge thing. Pickle jar for Hillary. Every politician would be guilty of payoffs. Exactly. So only a motivation materially, if not wholly shaped by political objectives, would implicate federal campaign finance law in a situation like this. Only a motivation materially, if not wholly shaped by political objectives, would implicate a federal campaign finance law in this situation. It could have been very well the case that he didn't want to embarrass his wife, Melania. He didn't want to embarrass his family. He didn't want to let people know, okay, look, he had these relationships. So he could have simply, paid money through Cohen because he didn't want to embarrass his family. But see, this is the thing. This is not top secret and special access program intelligence on a basement server. Hillary Clinton had an unencrypted server for 5.5 months. First 3 months, she used an AT&T email account, which probably explains why her first 3 months of emails are missing completely. And why the 4 years of Brian Pagliano's emails are missing completely. She's going to get charged, but the U.S. government's probably like, well, you know what? We'll find something else. It's too embarrassing. She made too much of a mockery of the United States intelligence community. Who knows? But I think that she will eventually get charged. Pick a crime, any crime. I wrote 2 books, but her top secret emails explaining exactly how she funneled, or how she could have funneled and transferred the top secret and special access program intelligence from SIPRNet, JWICs, and SCIFs. These are places within the United States government onto a server outside the United States government. Becky Pamplin, I don't care if he slept and paid off 100 women, and that's between him and his wife. He is rocking the presidency. That's why I voted for him. Exactly, Becky. Thank you so very much. Becky Pamplin, thank you so very much as always. No, didn't we learn from... Oh, thank you, David McDowell. Thank you. But didn't we learn that... I thought that we learned that Bill Clinton said, oh, well, it's private. It's private life. It's private life. Oh, my God. It's private life. It's not a big deal. Only a motivation materially, if not wholly shaped by political objectives, would implicate federal campaign finance law in this situation. So if he had a history of it, that kind of shows that, it really has nothing to do with his campaign, or it would have little, if nothing, to do with his campaign, if anything to do. A different but similar case against vice presidential candidate John Edwards failed to win over a jury. So they're going to fail again. They got 8 out of 18 counts with Manafort. They failed. Manafort's going to get pardoned. They're going to fail again. Mueller probe did not find Trump-Russia collusion. They're going to fail. They're going to fail in the midterms because they're running on higher taxes and no borders. They're going to fail. You can discuss the long-term ramifications of tax cuts, whatever. That's fine. But if you're talking about, oh my God, Trump is a horrible president. Oh my God, we're going to, repeal these tax cuts. You're going to pay higher taxes. Well, you're not going to. Midterm voters are generally older. And Trump-Russia is not. They spent all their political capital on Trump-Russia, and all they came up with is 8 counts out of 18 with Manafort. It's a complete and utter failure. They have zero evidence that Trump colluded with Russia because he didn't. He didn't need to. I wrote in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon. I was on MSNBC and CNN saying that you can go on my website. I was saying all of this. And it's like they don't realize that Donald Trump did not commit any campaign finance violations. He did not commit any campaign violations. And so on this channel, you have to, when you go ahead and when you watch the news, make sure you watch this channel to kind of like detox. Because he didn't go ahead. He didn't commit any campaign finance violations. And they're going to have to prove that it would have affected votes. They're going to have to prove that Trump told Cohen to go ahead and pay off people because it would have affected, well, let's look at the Electoral College map. Trump 306, Clinton 232. Okay, pretty solid victory. I was saying for a year and a half that she was going to lose if it was Trump. I wrote an article in The Hill. It talked about why Bernie defeated Trump, but it also talked about why Clinton loses to Trump. And the Trump presidency is making me rethink why I ever wrote. And the Trump presidency combined with Bernie pushing the Russia myth, combined with Bernie really doing the bidding of the DNC to keep the Democratic Party together, makes me wonder why I ever believed for a moment that he would have shaken up the system or, transformed. When Claire Friedman, thank you so very much, Claire. Thank you. When Anderson Cooper, Don Lemon, Max Boot, Bill Kristol, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and Hillary Clinton hate anyone, when CNN and the same people who advised Trump to go into advised Bush to go into Iraq and Afghanistan, the SJWs of the world, and all all of the people that you say, well, wait a second, if CNN, neoconservatives all hate one person, I like that person. If James Comey and CNN and MSNBC and Andrew McCabe and Peter Strzok and Lisa Page and Bruce Orr and Fusion GPS and Christopher Steele and Hillary Clinton and Uma Abedin and the New York Times and the Washington Post, the Democratic National Committee, and all the people who cheated Bernie and all the people who turned Bernie into essentially an arm of the Democratic Party. If they don't like Trump, I like Trump. Tree climbing, Trump is refreshing. He is. The same people who thought that he was, he's this like bigot. They thought that before he was even elected. If you want to just look at words, his words have like completely been manipulated. Whereas Hillary Clinton called black youth super predators. Hillary, that is documented. Hillary Clinton, it's on YouTube, made a racist joke about Mahatma Gandhi. Called him a gas station attendant. That's Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton used racism against Barack Obama, used a 3 a.m. ad. That was a racist. So, I mean, we can go on forever, but here. I'll read you the Lawfare blog. With the Cohen testimony, prosecutors have good reason to believe that this case is far stronger than the one brought against Edwards. Okay, how so? The Edwards trial was notable for absence of two key witnesses. In this trial, the key witness is talking. His statements at court Tuesday included the admission that in arranging these payments, he acted in coordination with and at the direction of a candidate of federal office. So he's going to have to go ahead, and if he has any proof, it would be very difficult even if he does prove it. He's going to also have to prove that he did so for political purposes. Oh, I'm going to lose Ohio. Cohen's lawyer, Lanny Davis, then confirmed on Twitter that his client had testified under oath that Donald Trump directed him to commit a crime. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. He pled guilty to it. Together with other evidence, such as the timing of the payments, Cohen's plea well, wait a second. Timing of payments. What about cash flow to Clinton Foundation amid Russian uranium deal? Was it just a coincidence? That's the verbatim New York Times article. It's not, you can't debunk a fact. What about Bill Clinton meeting with Vladimir Putin in 2010 while it was going down? You can't debunk that. It happened. Together with other evidence, such as the timing of the payments, Cohen's plea transforms a potentially difficult case about motive into a solid bet for the prosecution. Kind of like, what, 8 out of 18 for Manafort, a solid bet for the prosecution. Go ahead, spend all your energy. Don't talk about immigration reform. Don't talk about climate change. Don't talk about all the things you should be talking about as a Democratic Party. They don't care about single payer or Medicare for all. You want to know how I know? Because the Koch brothers study that they keep referencing said that, oh, well, they'll go ahead and save money after 10 years. Yeah, that's after even more than doubling income and corporate tax would be insufficient to fund Medicare for all. And then people say, well, there's tens of millions there's hundreds of thousands who lose their life without, and that's horrible. But the assumption is that people on Medicare don't pay out of pocket. People on Medicare pay on average, and this is documented, and I've documented this on Twitter, but everyone's like, between $5,000 to $7,000 out of pocket. If you can't afford that, people don't have health care in the United States because they can't afford it. So it's horrible. But they're not going to be able to afford Medicare's out-of-pocket costs either. If you have Medicare for all, Medicare is only 44 million people, and people have to pay $5,000 to $7,000 out of pocket right now. So your Medicare for all is 320 million people. So you're talking about from 44 million, and then we spend $1 trillion out of the $4 trillion budget on Medicare and health. $1 trillion. And that's not for 320 million people. That's for, around 60 million, 70 million people. I actually, as for 44 million, I'm adding 30 million to it. I'm not actually 100% sure of how, but I'm just go ahead for argument's sake, 70 million people. It's still not 320 million people. Bernie's estimate, one estimate from Bernie is 1.3 trillion Medicare for all would cost. How is that even possible? How's that possible? You have a $4 trillion budget. Okay, every year, 1 trillion goes to around 70 million people. How is 1.3 trillion going to go to 320 million people? How is 2.5 trillion? It's another estimate going to go to 320 million people. So you're going to tank the economy. You're going to increase more than double. And the Koch brothers study says that the quality of health is not assured. So the Koch brothers study is pretty clear. And I'll read you this actual quote. So where's the quote? Okay, so this is the Mercatus study, Koch brothers. Okay. We do not know how much Medicare for all would disrupt the availability and quality of health services. Again, we do not know. This is from the study. Medicare for all would markedly increase the demand for healthcare services while simultaneously cutting payments to providers by more than 40%, reducing payments to levels that are lower on average than providers' current costs. It cannot be known. That's a good thing, I guess, but it cannot be known how much providers will react to these losses by reducing the availability of existing health services, the quality of such services, or both. So let's just, Elizabeth Luker, giving some love to AHA for my daily education. Thank you so much, Elizabeth Luker. You are absolutely wonderful. Thank you for watching in the middle of the night. And you are one of the regulators, the moderators of this channel. Thank you so very much. Luke St. Martin, also, thank you so much. Eric H526, thank you so much. But Elizabeth Luker, thank you as always. So in addition, I'm reading the Mercatus study. Here's the study. Let me go ahead and I'll give it to the live chat. It's right here. ACOR, hello. It's right here. Mercatus, this is the Koch brothers study. It says, it cannot be known how much providers will react to these losses by reducing the availability of existing health services, the quality of such services, or both. So people say, it works in every industrialized nation. Yeah. And we don't even know the reduction in quality or the amount of services. We have no idea. It actually says here, they keep on saying, well, we're going to save money after 10 years. Yeah, we'll only save money after 10 years if let's go ahead and look at this interesting. A doubling of all currently projected federal income, federal individual and corporate income tax collections would be insufficient. A doubling of all currently projected federal, individual, and corporate income taxes would be insufficient to finance the added federal costs of the plan. You would need to more than double. Let's say that again. You would need to more than double personal income and corporate income tax. Corporate income tax went down to 21%. I'm not sure if they even talked about if this study was done before the tax cut, that would be a 60% corporate tax, over 60% corporate tax rate, which would be insane. But if it's after the tax cut, it's like a 42% corporate tax rate. Corporations would never go with that. But let's just go ahead and look at personal income tax. So what would that mean? I tweeted this out. If you made $82,000 to $165,000, you're making 24%. You double that, you're looking at close to what? 50% tax. A 50% tax? Most people are not paying that, or a great many Americans aren't paying that much for the health insurance every month. You're paying 50% tax, and then if you make 157 to 315,000, a 64% check, over 64% tax. So I don't see how this is even feasible. And if I'm getting the numbers wrong, let me know. But the Mercatus study says, just look at the current tax rates. The personal income tax rates, 32%. You're paying 32% personal income. But if you make 157 to 315, then you make 35. It's 35% if you make 200 to 400. So you're looking at a 70% tax. Does that make? And then I'm not even getting to the top marginal tax rate. That's going to skyrocket. But then, okay, 1%. Let's get those people fine. That's the whole mentality on the left. Whatever. From 500 to 600,000, 37%. So you're going to get close to 80% tax. How does this even make any sense to anyone? But again, why don't you own it? If it's doubling, if the Mercatus study says it's doubling of tax, people are saying, well, you know what? We're still going to benefit. It's still going to be savings. This is the assumptions that we can survive as an economy. Doubling of income tax and doubling of corporate tax, but own it. Don't just say that people are dying. Own it. Say people are losing their lives, so therefore pay 50% tax if you make over 80 to 165. Own it. Speak it out. Say, hey, look, this is why it won't hurt the economy. This is why you'll benefit. Own it. Don't just sit there and say, well, every other country does it. Yeah. And my buddy Sean has an interesting idea here. I'm reading it. So, you paying out of pocket. So, okay, so let's just go ahead real quickly. So I don't get, like, if I'm wrong, like there's so many channels on YouTube. It's like, why don't you just go ahead and say from 80 to 150, you're going to pay a 50% tax and then a 70% tax, a 60+% tax if you make more than that. You make more than 150, you're going to have to be taxed 60% of your income. Does that make any sense at all? I mean, am I off base here? It says here in the actual, so I mean, okay, of course I got sidetracked here. We're talking about, anyway, bottom line is they're not going to go ahead. Nothing's going to happen. They try to subpoena Trump. He's going to have to, he can even admit to it and say it was simply to protect my family, had nothing to do because I knew I was going to win anyway. And the Access Hollywood tape shows that, but then he can also, I mean, campaign finance we can go to President Obama, which was fined $300 million. So, but then, and then you can also say, well, look, he also denied it in public. So the credibility of the witness is suspect. But anyway, he did not do it. I mean, he would have won regardless. So you're going to have a hard time saying that it would have affected the election. which is the basis of the campaign finance law violation. It has to have affected the election, influenced the election. It didn't influence the election. But it says here in the Mercatus.org, a doubling of all current projected federal, individual, and corporate income tax collections would be insufficient, meaning what does insufficient mean? Insufficient. So you can more than double. More than double. So more than 50% for if you make 82 to 165, and it still won't work. So what, 70% goes to the government? Own it. Simply say we're going to tax you up the wazoo. Just own it. That's the thing I don't like with the left. They don't own. They don't own it. It's all virtue signaling. It's all, oh my God, look at this. It works in Denmark. It can work here. Well, then own it. You're going to increase the taxes to what? You're going to increase corporate individual taxes to what? It says in this study, you'd have to double. More than double would be insufficient. So own it. And then it also says that even if you more than double, we can't, the study doesn't even guarantee. We do not know how much Medicare for All would disrupt the availability and quality of health services. How difficult is that to understand? So, and then I don't know why they keep quoting the Mercatus study. The Medicare for All would place an unprecedented strain on the federal budget. I don't. They keep quoting a study that trashes single payer, and I don't get it. This is the Koch brothers study where they're like, "Why did it even benefit?" Everything is bad about it, and it's it's not feasible. Da 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 da. And it's you still. And this is why you need Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to debate Ben Shapiro. You need this discussion. Now, I'm open to potentially being wrong on certain things. I'm open to it. If you're in another country, you have national healthcare system. If what do you think? If you're British, what do you think of the NHS? To my UK, if you're in the UK and you're watching, let me know. What do you think of the NHS? What do you think? O.J. Clinton, the best in America in one name. Healthcare discussions never emphasize health. What we really need is food supply reform. Just my opinion. No, I agree with that. I agree with that. But if you're in the UK, let me know, the NHS, So I don't get it. It's Horace. Okay, I have friends in the UK that hate the NHS. Okay, NHS is great. Okay, NHS is slowly pushing to private hands. British doctors and nurses' salaries are half that of Americans. So I'm Canadian, and our healthcare is far from perfect. It will slowly crumble for the next 20 years because no one does anything to solve the problems. I think that the issue with our problem in the United States of America is that you have 320 million people. So population in Australia is 24 million. But the population in Canada is 36 million. Population UK is 65 million. We have 320 plus million people. Population Denmark, 5 million, close to 6 million. Netherlands, 17 million. We have 320 million people. France, 66 million. We have 320 million people. And people saying, well, we're every industrialized nation. Let's get into the modern world. Okay, well, we're not. You go ahead and our economy, we have such a high national debt. It's sad and it's dangerous, but we need a growing economy. If we don't have a growing economy, the debt will crush us. We put all our military endeavors on the credit card initially. It took years before we actually put we funded the actual Afghanistan and Iraq and the federal budget. So, exactly, ACUR, great point. Great point, ACUR. You're talking about countries the size of states. In California, they didn't go with California. We didn't go with the healthcare for all bill or Medicare for all bill, even in California. So it's like I'm not trying to be like the bearer of bad news. I understand that a lot of progressives really don't like me, which is fine. I find it hilarious anyway. Because if they had listened to me, whatever, I'm not going to get into it. But the point is, you have people, a lot of people, who are saying, oh my God, people are losing their lives. They're losing their lives primarily. If you don't have health care, then you can't afford out-of-pocket expenses. Out-of-pocket expenses for Medicare are $5,000 to $7,000. So out-of-pocket health spending in 2016 increased at the fastest rate in a decade, the Washington Post. ACA maximum out-of-pocket limit is $7,000. So if you and the family is 14,000. If you don't have access to healthcare, you don't have that money. That's the issue. The issue is you can't afford them. You can't afford it, which is horrendous. And I understand it's a horrible thing. So in the age of, this is the Money Time magazine, in the age of out-of-pocket costs for healthcare keep rising, you might take small comfort in the fact that insurers are required by the Affordable Care Act to provide a cap. But you're still paying out-of-pocket costs. So this notion that Mike Johnston, the Canadian healthcare system was second to none, fewer only in the last 15 years has it gone downhill. Wow. Taking them forever. Only the last 15 years has it gone downhill. Exactly. AC or comparing the U.S. to other countries, like comparing apples and oranges. Exactly. Mike Johnston, thank you. So it's just, I mean, you go from, you get Stormy to Michael Cohen to this, and it's like, so, I mean, I don't see how the Mercatus study is not George Mason University. This is not favorable at all. Let's see here. Under Obamacare, out-of-pocket costs dropped, but premiums rose. You're still paying premiums. I mean, if you can't, I mean, you're still paying premiums. So let's see. Obamacare reduces maximum out-of-pocket costs, but not enough for some. But for many people, the $6,600 per cost per year cap might as well be $600,000. This is USA Today. So, I mean, you're paying out of pocket. And that was 2015, and it actually rose to $7,000. You're going to pay out of pocket. If you cannot pay out of pocket, and then people say, well, people are losing, even with Obamacare, you're paying out of pocket. With Medicare, you're paying out of pocket. And it's just not feasible. Elizabeth Luker, thank you. Horace, thank you for being amazing moderators. So, I was like, I don't go ahead and debate this, own it. Don't just virtue signal. Well, I mean, this whole thing, the industrialized world, people are losing their lives. No one should be without health. Yeah. These are all obvious, important. Nobody wants anyone to lose their life, but you're talking about out-of-pocket costs with Obamacare, with Medicare for all, of $7,000. If you cannot afford $7,000 a year in out-of-pocket costs, that's probably one of the reasons that go into the hundreds of thousands who are losing their lives. And I hate to I don't hate to, but I hate to this is like a conservative vantage point, but you should focus also. One way to alleviate poverty is to ensure that areas of the country that are mired in poverty, why don't you go ahead and give incentive to corporations to move there, generate some wealth, generate some business, generate employment within areas that don't have employment. But that's not what the left talks about. It's always like, you should do this, you should do that, and if you don't, you're a bad person. Well, how much are the taxes going to be raised? Well, wait, do you know? That's true. I want all American soldiers to be brought home from war tomorrow. I want every American soldier overseas to be with their families. No one's saying that on the left. Bring home American soldiers. You know why? Because they think it's like jingoistic or that's where they're at. Anti-war to the left is hating Israel, and that's pretty much it. And being very vague. Well, we have to slash the budget and stop our wars. Well, how about saying, it won't hurt you. You can say it slowly, people on the left. Bring home American soldiers. Bring home American soldiers from war so they can have Christmas with their families. No. You can't bring up Christmas. No. You can't bring up Christmas, okay? That's too controversial. And I'm a Jewish guy telling you this. It's the left. We can't make a Christmas. No, don't break up Christmas. No. They think it's too, I don't know, they think it's like nationalism to say, like, bring home American soldiers. No, bring home American soldiers. You can be on your way to, if you really care about Medicare for all, you have to completely bring home all American soldiers, end our involvement in Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen, everywhere Obama took us initially. End our involvement. How about you push for that? Because then you can perhaps justify not increasing double, but a certain amount of tax dollars. Right now, you have to increase more than double if you keep the current foreign policy. But see, these things is too much for them. No, you're not on the team. You're bringing up bad things. No, you're a bad person. You're a bad person. You're a Trump voter. You're an enabler. Gabriel Swift, I have 3,000 plus viewers on BitChute. So, and actually, Stick Sexenhammer was really, really cool. He, the other day, said that he was, it was me and a bunch of other people saying he wanted us to get to 10,000. So, BitChute is awesome. But everything on the left is like, because I used to be hard, very much on the left. Now it's like I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, it's like I was deceived. Everything is, do it for these moral reasons. And if you don't fall in line, you're like, Satan. But then, like, don't explain. So I have no idea why you simply can't say, here are the actual, this is the rate in terms of personal income tax. And I know we're getting we've been off topic for like, 20, 30 minutes. I don't know. But it all goes to that. You focus on Michael Cohen and these ridiculous non-campaign finance violations about a relationship with women that was consensual, unlike Eric Schneiderman, who, by the way, was the New York Attorney General, who in his free time felt that he was, a combination of like Rocky and Batman, not in a good way. If you make $82,000 to $165,000, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez should simply say, people who advocate this should simply say, look, the Mercatus study says more than double. So using the Mercatus study, if you make $82,000 to $165,000, it's 50% income tax. $157,000 to $315,000, 64% income tax. $200,000 to $400,000, 70% income tax. 70% income tax. Now it says over double would be insufficient. So over 70% income tax, if you make $200,000 to $400,000, it still wouldn't be enough. Oh, and by the way, that's in addition to the corporate tax doubling. The economy is going to tank. Consumer spending is going to tank. People aren't going to be able to pay their taxes. It's going to be, the GDP is going to tank. Markets are going to tank. Banks is going to be like a little mini recession instantly. So, I mean, just own it. That's all I'm saying. Just own it. And if it's not the case, then look, you know what? The doubling the taxes isn't going to hurt the economy. So own it. Anyway, getting back to Michael Cohen. So, you know what? Go. You know what? Try. So you can't go ahead. He's going to write his report. I would agree that I'm a lot more libertarian than that. That's true. You're 100% right. I think that the problem with the left is that the most important thing that any leftist or any progressive or any liberal should focus on is bringing home American soldiers from war. Everything else isn't as important. Now, if you feel that Medicare for All is more important or as important or just almost as important, then there should be an open debate, open dialogue. Elizabeth Luker, speaking of that Alexandria lady, have you seen and talked about that episode of Water's World of him interviewing Ohio's Green Party candidate, the man who said he came from aliens? Hold on, I didn't. Hold on one second. Well, it's the Green Party, so let's see. They did the Green Party dirty, by the way. The Democrats, they just try to obliterate the Green Party. They're like, you lost us, Ohio district. Troy Balder said. They didn't even lose by the amount that the Green Party candidate, the Green Party candidate got less votes than the margin they lost by, and they still blamed him. But the typical Democrat. And they could, I guess they could make a case after the provisional ballots. Anyway, so Green Party, Water's World. Candidate who claimed alien ancestry placed spoiler in election. Oh, is that the guy? Fantastic. I love that. Oh, Joe Manchin. So, Joe Manchin claims to be from aliens. That's good. That's fantastic. Love it. Let's see here. All right. That's funny. That is funny. Thank you, Elizabeth. Look, play it. Trust me. Good laugh. Okay, so hold on. I will play it. Okay, so let's play it. So Joe Manchin, aliens. Okay. All right, so let's hear this.
Meddling on Hillary's devastating loss for almost 2 years. So it's not surprising some are using the same excuse to explain last week's special election loss in Ohio. Actress Alyssa Milano tweeted,
WordPress.com.
WordPress, got it. All right, good.
Yeah, and let me say something first.
Sure.
That was not supposed to be released to the public. That was a private chat that I had with someone.
Site now, at least.
The donate page at the top of the website.
Awesome. And then can you tell us what that website is?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember.
Joining me now, Ohio Green Party candidate Joe Manchin. Joe, do you remember the website now, at least?
Yep.
What is your
all
position?
Kinds of false information.
What is your position on hemp? What do you feel about Israel, our ally in
for taxes? He wanted everyone to enter the United States.
Okay, so if MS-13 base aliens.
No.
You say you are descended, or your parents are descended from outer space aliens.
No, I didn't say that. I said my distant relatives.
Okay.
That's a silly Facebook post that I put on my Facebook page probably 10 years ago,
Do you still?
before I even thought about running for Congress. And it's still up there. If you want to go to my personal Facebook page, you can read all about it.
Okay, so you do believe you're descended from aliens from outer space?
The human race could be descended from aliens on another planet. Who knows?
All right. Well,
But I really didn't come here to talk about that.
I gotta run.
I came
Elizabeth Luker. Love it. Love it. I love it. All right. Thank you so very much, everyone. We're going to end it on that note. And Elizabeth Luker, thank you as always. Thank you so very much. What can I tell you? He's not going to get impeached because of campaign finance violations on an issue that has nothing to do with the campaign. He won despite an Access Hollywood tape. And Cohen already denied that he had done this anyway. Thank you so very much. Hit subscribe to my HA Photo Indigo Girl. To my subscribers in other countries, thank you so very much for watching. Please tell your friends about this channel. And thank you so much to my moderators. Thank you to the super chat. Thank you. Hit subscribe, and thank you all. Have a great evening. And thank you again.